birth account tonight. This has been around since 2005, and we just released a brand new version. I'm really, really excited about this new version, version 5. It's been totally re-engineered, and we've got, keep in mind, now we've got over 70,000 clients that have been using our program. We just did this new upgrade. The upgrades are free, and so all of those clients get this brand new upgrade. And the feedback we've gotten so far from the clients that have had the upgrade, they love it. They absolutely love it. So tonight we're gonna talk about the software itself, a little bit of an educational process, and the coaching process that goes along with this. So I think you'd agree, hey, learning is important. So the more we can learn, the more we can earn. Let's take a quick snapshot here of a mortgage. Let's say that you've got a $200,000 mortgage, and the interest rate is at 6%. It's a 30-year loan, so that would be 360 months. And then the monthly payment on that would be $1,199.10. So month one, you make that very first payment. Check this out. Okay, now, you knew that when you signed those loan documents that the early years of that mortgage, that more of the payment would be going towards interest. Check this out, man. Month two, the principal portion of our payment goes up how much? $1. $1. You got to be...
Sorry, folks. Sometimes the sound does drop in and out of these. What he's doing right now is just showing how an amortization schedule on a 30-year mortgage works.
$13,000 has gone to principal. Wow. 10 years into that mortgage. Check this out. You've paid in over $143,000 in payments. Of that, only $32,000 has been applied towards principal. Now, you would think that on a 30-year mortgage, 15 years into it, it would be half paid off, right? Wrong. It takes 21 years of a 30-year mortgage to have it half paid off. Look at this. At the end of 21 years on that mortgage, you've paid in just over $300,000 in payments. The principal paid down is about $100,000. You still owe $100,000 after 21 years. Wow, interest just eats you alive. But finally, year 30, you make that very last payment. Wow. But look at this. You've paid in $431,677 in payments. How much did you borrow? $200,000. You paid more in interest than you borrowed. Wow. Okay, let's look at an example here. Now, think about this. Let's say you just took out this brand new mortgage, but month one, you're going to send in your regular payment along with an additional $5,000. So your first payment would be $6,199, okay? Now, when you do that, the nice thing is what? Well, that just dropped your $200,000 mortgage down to $195,000. Okay, I like that, but did it change the interest rate? No, it didn't. Did it change our monthly payment? No, we still need to make that payment of $1,199 a month. But what it did do, you just eliminated 23 payments. Now, that's a big deal. That $5,000 eliminated 23 payments. So now what that also did, that just canceled over $23,000 of scheduled mortgage interest. Okay, I like that too. But what's the problem? Man, where am I going to get the $5,000 to send in with my first payment, right? Okay, now, let me go through another example. Let's say that you've got this $200,000 mortgage. And what we want to do, now I'm going to go through the educational part of what we do. We're going to set up what we call an interest cancellation account, okay? Now, an interest cancellation account, what is that? There's several different things that we can use as an interest cancellation account. It could be a combination of your checking and savings account. It could be a line of credit. It could be a HELOC or a home equity line of credit. Let's just use that for an example. Let's say that you've got your $200,000 mortgage and you've got this home equity line of credit. And let's say you've got a $10,000 credit, okay? And that number doesn't matter. It could be, you know, 100,000, 10,000, whatever. What I want to do is walk you through the concept, okay, of what an interest cancellation account can do for you. So the software program is going to prompt us to do what we call a funds transfer. That says, let's transfer money from our interest cancellation account to, in this case, our debt would be the mortgage. We're going to transfer that to the mortgage. So if we were to borrow $5,000 from our line of credit and pay that onto our mortgage, the good thing about that is what? Hey, we just dropped that balance down to $195,000, and we just canceled over $23,000 of future mortgage interest. Okay, we like that, but what's the drawback here? Okay, let's say that our mortgage is at a 5% interest rate, but this line of credit, let's say that we're being charged a 10% interest rate. Now, honestly, does it make any sense to borrow money from a 10%, we're being charged 10%, to pay onto a 5% debt? Does that make any sense? Say no until you understand this concept. This is where it kicks in, okay? Let's say your paycheck that month is $5,000. Now, traditionally, where have you been depositing that paycheck? You've been putting that into your checking account, right? But what you're going to learn tonight, if you were to take that paycheck and deposit that into this interest cancellation account, in this example, we're using the line of credit, and so what that does is that drops the balance on that line of credit. We did owe $5,000, but we deposit our paycheck in there, so the balance is now zero. So if the balance on that line of credit is zero, how much interest are we paying on that line of credit? Zero. Wow, okay, I like that, but there's still a dilemma here. What's the dilemma? Hey, I cannot leave my paycheck in there forever. Why? Well, I've got bills to pay. I've got to make my mortgage payment eventually. I've got to make my car payment. I've got to pay utilities. I've got to buy food. I've got to put gas in the car, right? But the longer we can let that money sit in the interest cancellation account, we're canceling interest. Okay, so if we could let that money sit in there for 1 week, let's say we've got to make our house payment. We make that. But we don't need to make the car payment for 2 more weeks. We don't need to pay off a credit card for 3 more weeks. The longer we can let that money sit in it, the better off we are, okay? So, we did that. Now, most of you know who Howard Hughes is. A little quote he has, I love this. It says, 2% of the population controls 98% of the wealth because 98% of the people are stupid. Well, are you stupid? Say no. Okay, I can't see you, but I'm assuming that you're pretty smart people, okay? So, we're going to prove that wrong. Monthly budget, okay, let's say, here's another example. Let's say that you make $5,000 a month and your living expenses are $4,000. Now, of the $4,000, that does include your mortgage. You know, again, that's car payments, that's student loans, that's credit cards, that's groceries, that's gas for the car. All of your living expenses are included in that $4,000. So you got $1,000 a month of discretionary income. Now, in reality, you might only have $50 of discretionary income. You might have $3,000 of discretionary income. But so you understand the mechanics of our program, how this software program works. Let's say you make $5,000 and your bills are exactly $4,000 a month. You've got $1,000 a month extra, okay? Month 1, the way this program works, the worth account, okay? Version 5, we call the worth account. Now, let's take worst case scenario, okay? Worst case scenario. The program, what is the cost of the worth account? The worth account ranges anywhere from $750 all the way up to $3,500, okay? The cost of the program is based on how much interest we're going to save you. So obviously, the more interest we're going to save you, the more valuable it is to you, and the higher the price point is going to be for the product. If we're not saving you as much interest, then the price point would be as low as $750. Let's take worst case scenario. Let's say that, man, we're just saving you oodles, so the price tag would be $3,500. Now, your living expenses that month are the $4,000. So let's say that we take this line of credit, and we're going to pay for the worth account from our line of credit. So we're borrowing $3,500 from that. Our expenses are $4,000. So we'll just hurry and just write out all the expenses. So we've got that covered. So in your line of credit, there should be a minus sign in front of this. You're upside down $7,500. Well, hey, aren't you glad you met me? But what we learned, if we could deposit our paycheck not into our traditional checking account, but if we were to deposit that paycheck into this line of credit, boom, that drops the balance down to $2,500. So that month, yes, we've borrowed $2,500 from that account, and so we are going to pay interest on that. Let's say that we're being charged a 10% rate on that line of credit. So that month, we are going to pay interest. We're going to pay $20.83 in interest. Okay, month 2, we have that balance owing at $2,500. Our expenses of $4,000. So we're upside down on that line of credit of $6,500. Our paycheck comes in. We deposit that in there for $5,000. So on that line of credit, we owe $1,500. That month, we are going to pay interest on that. How much interest? $12.50. Okay, month 3, we have a balance owing of $1,500. Our expenses that month are $4,000. So on that line of credit, we owe $5,500, but our paycheck comes in for $5,000. So look at this. We've got that balance down to only $500, okay, on that line of credit. Now, let me ask you a question. If you were to deposit your next paycheck of $5,000 into that account now, what would happen? Well, the bank would be using $4,500 of your money, right? So we don't want that to happen. And so the software program, the Worth account, is going to prompt us to do what we call a funds transfer. And it's going to say, look, from your line of credit, borrow $3,675.77. Borrow that from your line of credit and pay that onto, in this example, the debt we're going to use is our mortgage. Now, so we're going to send that to our mortgage. Now, of that $3,675.77, how much of that is applied to principal and how much of that goes to interest? 100% of that is applied to principal, okay? So boom, we just knocked the balance on our mortgage down, which will cancel payments, and I'll show you how it works here. Now, let's back up for a minute. But when we did that, on our line of credit, we owe $4,175.77. So that month we are going to pay interest. How much interest? $34.80. So let's recap. We've been on the Worth account now for 3 months. We've paid a total in interest to the line of credit of $68.13. But look at this. We've canceled over $17,249 of scheduled mortgage interest. Wow, I like that. And we've eliminated 18 payments. If I stopped using the Worth account at the end of 3 months, I've saved $17,000 in interest, and there's 18 mortgage payments I'll never, never, never have to make. I like that, okay? Now, let's go back to the amortization schedule that we looked at in the very beginning. Remember that it was, of our principal payment, the month 1, $199 went to principal. The next month, $200. The next month, $201. Well, when we sent that $3,675 over to our first mortgage, when we got a statement from our mortgage company, it shows that of our next payment, instead of $202 of that payment being applied towards principal, we've got $220.48 that's being applied. That's an additional $19.38. That's what we call a principal jump. So if every payment you make from now on, you've got $19.38 more that's being applied towards principal. Well, you'd think, well, $19 is a big deal. It is a big deal. You just saved $17,000 in interest, and you eliminated 18 payments. That is a big deal. And you've got that balance down to $195,000 on your mortgage. Okay? Let's keep going. I'm going to go through 12 months. I'm going to go through these next really quick. The first 3 months, I took our time to explain it. Month 4, okay, we've got that balance on our line of credit to $3,175. We are going to pay interest. Month 5, we've got that balance down to $2,175. You are going to pay some interest, $18.13. Month 6, we've got that balance down to $1,175.77. But again, the question I'm going to ask, if you were to deposit your next paycheck into that account, what would happen? Well, the bank would be, it would be lopsided. The bank would be using your money. We don't want that. And so the software program, the Worth account, is going to prompt us to do another funds transfer. It says, look, based on how much money is coming in and what's going out, it says, let's borrow $2,920.23. It optimizes your money to the penny. It didn't say, well, let's send it $2,500 or $2,900 or $3,000. It says, look, what this software program is doing is it's tracking how many deposits are you making and how many checks are you writing back out. What's coming in, what's going out. What's coming in, what's going out. So based on that is how much the software program is going to prompt us to do our funds transfers for. So on that line of credit, we owe $4,096. Now, let me back up for a minute. When we borrowed that $2,920 from the line of credit, we applied that to our mortgage. 100% of that goes to principal. 0 of that goes to interest. Okay, I want to make that very clear. So 6 months into the Worth account, that month we are going to pay interest, but 6 months now, we've been using the Worth account for 6 months. We've paid a total of $146.85 in interest on that line of credit. But look at this. We've canceled over $29,000 of scheduled mortgage interest, and we've taken 37 payments off our mortgage. That's, again, if you stopped using the Worth account at the end of 6 months, that's 37 payments. That's just over 3 years of payments you'll never, never, never have to make. I like that. If we look at the amortization schedule again, look at this. The principal portion of our payment was going up about $1 per month, but by adding this $2,900 and whatever amount to the mortgage, what that did is of every payment from now on, we've got another $15.72 that's being applied towards principal. So we had the $19.38. Now we've got another $15.72. Well, again, you'd say, well, big deal, $15.72. It is a big deal. It just canceled over $29,000 of scheduled mortgage interest and took 37 payments off your mortgage. That is a big deal. And look at this. We've got that balance down to $192,000 after just 6 months. I love it. Okay, month 7. Okay, our bill, we owe $4,000. Our expense is $4,000. We're upside down on that line of credit of $8,096. Our paycheck came in for $5,000. So we owe on that line of credit $3,096. We are going to pay some interest. Month 7, same thing. We are going to pay some interest. Month 9, month 8, month 9. We've got that balance on that line of credit down to $1,096. And again, my question is what? Hey, if you were to deposit your next paycheck into that account, what would happen? Well, the bank could be roughly using $4,000 of that. So what's the software program going to prompt us to do? The Worth account's going to say, look, let's do another funds transfer. It's going to say, let's borrow from our line of credit $2,917.68. Again, we're going to send that to our first mortgage. 100% of that is applied towards principal. Okay. Now, back on the line of credit, we have a balance owing of $4,013.68. Okay. We are going to pay interest on it that month. Let's recap. 9 months, using the Worth account now for 9 months, on that line of credit, we've paid a total of $223.48 in interest. But look at this. We've canceled over $40,678 of scheduled mortgage interest, and we've eliminated 42 payments. 3.5 years of payments gone just after 9 months using the Worth account. Is it worth it? Okay. How much did we pay for the program? Maximum, worst case scenario, would be $3,500. We've just saved you over $40,000. Is it worth it? It's looking pretty good. It's looking pretty good. That's all I can say. Okay, now, when we set that $2,917 over the first mortgage, that changes our payment that next month. Now we've got an additional $15.79 of every payment from now on. We've got that much more that's being applied towards principal. Again, you wouldn't think, well, $15, big deal. It is a big deal because it just canceled over $40,000 in scheduled mortgages and took 42 payments off your mortgage? Yeah, that's a big deal. And look at this. 9 months into this, we only owe $188,000 on our mortgage. Wow. 10, okay, same thing. Month 12, same thing. Month 10, month 11, month 12. Okay, month 12 here. What we've got on this, again, we've got that balance on our line of credit. Now, we've borrowed from that line of credit how much? $3,600. There was $2,900, another $2,900. But look at this. We've got the balance paid down to $1,013.68. And my next question is what? Hey, if you were to deposit your next paycheck into that, what would happen? So what's the worth account going to promise to do? It's going to say, let's do another funds transfer. And it's optimizing your money. Now, in this example we're using, it shows that our expenses are always exactly $4,000 a month. Are your expenses always exactly the same? No, they're not. Okay, now, in this example we're using, your paycheck is always $5,000 a month. Okay, a lot of you are on commission. It varies month to month. And so what the software program is doing is it's tracking exactly how many deposits you're making and what checks you're writing out. So when it says, let's do a funds transfer, it's optimizing your money to the penny. And if you overspent that month, well, the funds transfer might be postponed a month, or if you did it that month, the funds transfer might only be $1,600.22 or something like that. But again, using this example, you kind of get the concept down. Now, on that line of credit, we owe $3,931.35. We are going to pay interest. So, again, let's recap. 12 months into the worth account. We've been using it now for 12 months. On that line of credit, we've paid a total of $297.89. But look at this. We've canceled over $50,000 of scheduled mortgage interest, and we've taken we've eliminated 53 months. We've eliminated 53 payments. That's, again, if we stopped using the worth account at the end of this 12-month period, that's 53 payments you'll never have to make. I love it. Is the worth account worth it? I think it is. And now, 12 months into the program, remember the principal portion of our payment was going up about $1 per month. So if you would have just been making your regularly scheduled mortgage payments at the end of 12 months, the portion of your payment would be about $12 more. But by using the worth account, we've got $75 more per month of every single payment you make. That much more is going towards principal. Again, you wouldn't think that's a big deal, but it is a big deal because it just saved you $50,000 and took 53 payments off your mortgage, and we've got the balance down to $184,000. Wow. Okay, so let's review. Your conventional mortgage, $200,000, but using the worth account, at the end of 1 year, if you would have just been making your regularly scheduled mortgage payments, you would still owe $197,543 on that mortgage. Using the worth account, we've got that balance down to $184,811. It would have taken you 5.5 years of just making your regularly scheduled mortgage payment. It would have taken you 5.5 years to get that balance down to $184,000. Now, I love this part. Repayment. You would have been making those payments for 30 years, but using the worth account, you'll be paid off. That mortgage will be paid off in 10.4 years. That's a lot better than 30. And this is what's really cool. The interest you would have paid $231,677 in interest, but using the worth account, you'll only pay $70,422. That's a net savings in your pocket of $161,255. That's money you get to keep in your pocket. Again, that's money you would have paid the mortgage company, but using the worth account, you don't have to. Let me ask you this. That $161,000, if you got to keep that in your pocket, would that make a difference in your family budget? Would that make a difference in your lifestyle? It would mine, okay? Now, let me ask you this question. Okay, the program costs how much? Worst case scenario, $3,500. Would you invest $3,500 for a guaranteed savings in 10.4 years of $161,000. Would you do that? I would. Okay, I love this thing. Here's a testimonial. Now, if you go to our website, we've got over 1,000 testimonials on our website. Here's just one short one. Hey, it works. In less than 3 months of using the program, we have reduced our mortgage from just under $116,000 to $105,000. You got to love that. Okay, let's keep going. On the educational process of how this program works, let's say that you've got these 6 different debts. Okay, which one of these debts, if you said, look, I want to get out of debt as quick as possible and I want to pay the least amount of interest over time, which one of these debts would you pay off first? Which one? Well, some people might look at the first one there, say, well, 15%, that's a higher interest rate. I'd probably pay that one off because it's the highest interest rate. But somebody else might come along and look at that second one there and say, well, the lowest balance is $4,309. Well, I would pay the lowest balance off, and then the next lowest balance, and the next lowest balance. Well, Susie Orman says you should pay the highest interest rate off. Clark Howard says that you should take the lowest balance and pay that off. Well, who's right? Okay. Well, what I love about this software program, it strategically, mathematically, it takes a look at how much you owe on each debt, the length of that debt, what your interest rate is on that debt, the way the payment's calculated. Is it an open-end loan? Is it a closed-end loan? And then it takes a look, is it an adjustable rate? And the software, the Worth account, automatically tracks all that and determines which payment that you should make first. And so that way, mathematically, the program is going to tell you which debt you need to pay off first, so you're out of debt the quickest and you're paying the least amount of interest. I love that. You don't need to try to guess at it. The program tells you exactly what to do. Now, the example I used earlier was using a home equity line of credit. I want you to understand, you do not, let me repeat this, you do not need a line of credit to make the program work. The Worth account works without a home equity line of credit. The program works without a personal line of credit. It works without a commercial line of credit. It works without a secured line of credit. It works without a credit card. Is all you need to make the Worth account work. If you have a checking account and a savings account, that combination will work. It absolutely works. Now, a lot of people say, okay, well, how does that work? How does it work if I don't have a line of credit, or I don't want to use my line of credit to make this work? How does this checking account and savings account combination work? Well, let me ask you this. When you use that line of credit, were we paying interest on that money? Yes, we were. But let me ask you this. When we use a savings account, we're not paying interest, but we're what? We're earning interest. Let me ask you this. If we're using a savings account where it's earning interest, well, we're not paying the interest, how much interest do you think you'd earn if the program told you how much to put into savings instead of how much to borrow from your line of credit? Just think about the interest. Now, savings accounts right now, they're not paying a lot of interest. They're, 0.5%, 1%, but interest adds up. How much interest would you be earning if you were using a savings account instead of the line of credit? How much interest would you earn over the next, 6, 8, or 10 years? A lot, okay? Now, here the number says 88%. It's over 90% of our clients use the combination of their checking and savings account for their interest cancellation account, okay? And now, instead of going through exactly the mechanics of the checking and savings account, the home office, they said, look, they want to keep that sizzle so that when you call in to get your savings analysis run, they're going to walk you through exactly how that works based on your numbers, based on your checking account, how much you want to leave in the checking account, your savings account, how much you want to build that savings account up, how much you want to keep in there. So they're going to walk you through and show you exactly the cash flow using a checking and savings account. But again, over 90% of our clients, that's the method they use, is their savings and checking account as their interest cancellation account. Now, I'm going through a lot of numbers. I hope it's not too confusing, but the first time you see this, it might be a little overwhelming. But trust me, it flat out works. Again, we've got over 1,000 testimonials on our website that you can go check out. Okay, let's keep going. Let's go through some education on the software program. I love this. This is what we call the dashboard, okay? This top part is the dashboard. What I love about this, it shows me, okay, years to pay off. I've got 9 years before I'm debt-free. And the software, what we do, we don't just load your mortgage in, or if you rent, you know, it's also going to take into account your credit cards, your car payment, your student loans, you know, any debts you've got. And if you've got a mortgage, that'll be included in there as well. But it's going to show, hey, based on this, based on the program, the way it's working, based on how much money you make and how many checks you write back out, we'll have you debt-free in 9 years. Now, let me ask you this question. Your goal, if you've got a mortgage, your goal is to what? Get that home paid off. So let me ask you, when you set a goal, you have a timeline that you put together with that goal so you know when you accomplish it, right? Let me ask you right now, what month and year are you going to have your mortgage paid off? Come on, real quick, what month and year? You don't know, do you? But yet you said it was a goal, but yet you don't have a way to track it. This is what I love about the Worth account. You can track, hey, in 9 years, I'm going to be debt-free. Now, it also shows me, look, based on my income and what my expenses are, I'm going to save $170,000 in interest I would have paid to the lenders. And now, this example, they haven't been on the program very long because they've only canceled $22,000 in interest. But man, when you log in and you look at that dashboard, you're going, wow, 9 years to pay off. I've already saved $170,000, or I would have been paying $170,000 in interest. I've already saved $22,000 in interest. I like that. It motivates you. It becomes addicting. Man, I want to get this paid down. What it shows is at the rate you're going, you'll still pay $67,342 in interest. But you look at that and say, man, I don't want to pay that in interest. And so it motivates you to really pay attention to this thing. Now, you don't need to log into this thing every day. If you log in once a month, when it gets closer to the day that you're going to do a funds transfer, that's when you want to pay a little more attention to it. Now, this is what's new with version 5, with what we just came out with. It's totally automated. It used to be that every time you went to the store, you'd have to write you wrote a check out to groceries, you wrote a check out to pay for gas. You would have to go in and manually enter that in. Now, you don't have to. It's totally automated. We've got agreements with over 14,000 banks and lending institutions that once a day, it just pulls that data from your account and loads it into the software program. Now, it's totally secure. We do not have access to your accounts. We do not move money. We cannot touch any money in your account. The agreement we've got with these 14,000 banks and lending institutions, it's a third-party software program that pulls that information into our software, and it's the same third party that the banks use when you do bill pay through the banks. So it's very secure, very, very accurate. But it makes it so much easier when it's totally automated like this. So what we've been talking about is kind of along the lines of a GPS. You know, what the software is telling us is, you know, when you're in your car and you say, okay, I want to get from point A to point B, you load point B in, you know, it's the address, and it tells you turn right in 500 feet, turn right in 100 feet. The software program, this Worth account, what it does is says, look, how much money to move and the exact dollar amount. How much money to move from your checking to savings, or savings to pay off a debt, or your checking account to the line of credit, and when to borrow money from your line of credit. So it depends on which method you use for your interest cancellation account. It's going to tell you the exact dollars to move. It's going to tell you when to move it, the exact dates to move that money, and from which account to which account, so that it's the most effective way. So this is really going to show you the quickest way, mathematically, to become debt-free. I love this thing. Interesting, isn't it? Hey, are you learning anything yet? Say yes. All right. Okay. Hey, my background is financial planning. It's what I've done for over 20 years. And what I love about the Worth account is it tracks more stuff for us. So let me share that with you. Now, when I was doing retirement planning, what I would do is I would have couples, they would come into my office, and I would ask them 2 questions. Question number 1, what age do you want to retire? What would most people say? Very few people would say, well, age 65. Most people would say, I want to retire early. I want to retire now. I want to retire at age 55. I want to retire at age, 57. And so I'd look at them and say, okay, good goal. You want to retire early by age 55. Great. The second question I would ask them is, how much money do you have to have put away in order to retire by age 55, by age 57, by whatever they're what would they say? They would say, well, I got to have a lot. They don't have a clue, okay? Hey, the quote is what? Hey, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail, okay? So that's what I love about the worth account, because in this example, it's showing us, look, okay, you've got 9 years still, and we're going to save you $170,000 in interest. We've already saved you $22,000 in interest. You will be paying $67,000 in interest at the rate you're going. But look at this. If we get you paid off in 9 years, that's 21 years early on a 30-year debt. Okay? All the other debts plus your mortgage, a 30-year mortgage, we get that paid off in 9 years. That's 21 years early. Well, this program says, look, based on 30 years, if you'll continue to make those payments, but not to your mortgage company, but if you'll keep making that payment, if you'll put that into a savings account or some type of an investment vehicle, just at a 1% return, at the end of 30 years, instead of, oh, finally I've got my mortgage paid off, at the end of 30 years, using the worth account, you'd have $748,000 in savings. At a 3% return, you'd have $935,000. At a 5% return, you'd have $1.1 million cash. Now, that's a lot better than just in 30 years my home's paid off. Hey, in 30 years, my home's paid off, plus I'm going to have cash. I like that. So that's what I love about the worth account. When I saw this thing, I fell in love with it, because then this is a tracking tool. This is what people need. This tells them when to move money, how much money. It shows them where they're at. It gives them a time frame that they can do it. I mean, now we've had clients on this since 2005, so they've been on it for quite a while. But we can track it. Our clients have actually paid down in principal over $500 million. Now the interest they've saved is a lot more than that. Again, we've got over 70,000 happy subscribers that use the program. I think that says a lot. Now, we've got continuous customer support. Hey, if you've got questions, let's say in 2 years from now, you sell your home, you buy another home, you got another mortgage, or you buy an investment property, you've got a second mortgage there, you buy another investment property, you got 3 mortgages. And so how does this software track all that? Well, you can call an 800 number, you can call the home office, and you've got the questions, they've got the answers, and there's no additional cost for that. Ongoing support for as long as you own the program. That could be 10, 15, 20 years, okay? Ongoing support at no additional cost. I love that part. Now, back in 2008, we received the Entrepreneur of the Year by Ernst & Young. Now, if you don't know who Ernst & Young is, they're one of the world's largest accounting firms on the planet. They're a consulting firm. They understand numbers. I mean, that's what they do for a living, is they crunch numbers. Well, when they took a look at the Worth account, our previous version, now remember, the Worth account, we just launched version 5 just a few months ago. Back in 2008, when they looked at our software program at that point, they thought, oh, this is too good to be true. They tried to break the code. They tried to disprove it. And so they came in with, what about this? No, what about this? No. They tried several different scenarios. They couldn't break it. They said, man, this thing really works. It does what you say it's going to do. So just think about it. That was 2008. We were on version 3. Now you've got version 5. It's 10 times better than what it was in 2008. So it's an incredible product. Okay, a couple more slides, and then we're going to jump into the opportunity side of it and a promotion we've got going right now that a lot of you that are on the call for. Okay, but hang with me for just a minute here. Option 1 and option 2. Okay, option 1 is just your conventional mortgage. If you were to pay that for 30 years, but using the Worth account, you'll have that mortgage paid off in 10.4 years in the example we showed you earlier. And let me ask you, with those numbers, do you want option 1 or option 2? Okay, interest paid. Under your traditional mortgage over 30 years, you'll pay $231,677. Using the Worth account, you'll only pay $70,422. Do you want option 1 or option 2? I think I heard somebody say option 2. All right. The next one, interest saved. Hey, at the end of 30 years, hey, your home will be paid off. But using the worth account, you saved $161,000 in scheduled mortgage interest. I'd rather keep that in my pocket. Okay, the next one, retirement. Okay, using the worth account at the end of that 30-year period. Again, if you had that your home, all your debts were paid off in 10.4 years, but you kept making that payment, again, not to the mortgage company, but to an investment of your choice, at that rate, you'd have over $700,000 cash in the bank. Do you want option 1 or option 2? And then this last example, let's say you're 40 years old and you just bought a new home and you're going to take out a brand new 30-year mortgage. Well, in 30 years, you'll be 70 years old, but using the worth account, you'll have that paid off at age 50. Again, do you want option 1 or option 2? These are tough questions. All right. Hey, you got to quit hoping, man. I hope I'm going to get out of debt. I hope. No more hoping, okay? Albert Einstein said, hey, look, if you continue to do what you've always been doing, you'll continue to get what you've always been getting. You got to get off the hopium. No more hoping I'm going to get out of debt. No more hoping I'm going to get home paid off. You've got to have the worth account so you can see exactly where you're at, and it tells you so you save less, you save a lot of interest, and you get out of debt a lot quicker. Okay, so to get that, we've got the free analysis. Now, I want to make sure you understand this. The worth account, to get on the worth account, this is not a refinance. We are not refinancing your mortgage. This is not a loan modification. We're not going to modify your existing loan. We don't pull credit, so we don't need your social security number. We don't need your date of birth. There's no credit checks. But this is simply a simple software program to use. So in order to see if the program will work for you, you call an 800 number, and they're going to take anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes to ask you a couple of questions. The questions are, what's your income? How much money do you make per month? And the next question is, what are your liabilities? Meaning, okay, how much do you owe on your house? What's the interest rate? Do you have a car payment? What's the interest on that? How long? Do you have a credit card? Okay, are you paying on that? How much do you owe? What's the interest rate? Do you have another credit card? Do you have student loans? So they're going to go through that. And once they get your income and what your liabilities are, at that point, they're going to say, okay, boom, we're going to save you, based on your numbers, $171,000 in interest, and the projected one that would be you'll be paid off in 9.2 years, and the date you'll have it paid off and the time you'll save. Okay, so with that, hey, is it worth it? You know, I think you'll agree that the worth account is worth it. But the problem is a lot of people don't have any money. Okay, so is it affordable? Yes, it is. We have our own in-house financing. There's no credit checks. We don't care if you've got bad credit, good credit. If the program works for you, you've got positive cash flow, we know it's going to work for you. You set the terms. Hey, if I can only afford $100 a month for the program, if I can only afford $20 a month, boom, we can do it. Everyone can now afford the program. It's for everybody. So I would challenge you, get your savings analysis run as quick as you possibly can. There's an 800 number. Now, when you call the 800 number, there's a 6-digit number you've got to give with that. So with that 6-digit number, they'll run the analysis for you. Without that 6-digit number, they will not run the analysis. Okay, so whoever invited you on this call, make sure you get your referral number from them on that. So that's what we've got so far. That's the way the program works. What I want to do now is go through an announcement that we've got on for our agents. If the agents that are on board with us right now, that are on this call, I want you to take a look at this. I'm going to pull this up because we've got two major announcements we want to share with you. Okay, so I know you've been on the call for quite a while, so hang on. I'm going to jump right into this. Okay, the bonus pool. Okay, the Worth Unlimited. We've got a fast start to the bonus pool, and I want to explain this to you. Okay, we've got the partner pool. Once you reach the rank of field partner, it allows you to share in the company revenues. That means every sale made nationally, you get a piece of that, okay? Whether it's somebody that's in your team or what have you. Now, this is what's cool. We were going to be paying out 6.25% of the company's profits, not profits, but revenues. Okay, there's a big difference there. 6.25% of company revenues, we just increased that to 9.25%. That's over 30% more that's going to be paid out. Man, I like that. Okay, that's more money. So we want to encourage people to get in the partner pool just as quick as you possibly can. Now, the fast track to that, we also, for the partner pool, we've just added this. Before, you had to be a managing executive director. Now we're opening it up. Once you get to executive director, if you can do that, if you can get to the executive director in the first 6 months, you are going to participate in the partner pool. You'll receive 50%. You'll get 50% credit. So again, you'll be able to get into that a lot quicker than if you can get to executive director within the first 6 months, boom, now you get to participate in the partner pool. 50% of the pool is going to be directed towards that. So this promotion applies to all agents, both new and existing, through February 28th, okay? So we've got 2 months to do that. Now, again, your 6 months would have started, if you've been with the company for a while, by that 6-month promotion the time is running, okay? It's been running. But for new agents to come on, we're going to run this promotion for the next 2 months, so any agent that comes on, the 28th of January, the 5th of February, they get this to participate in this little promotion we're doing. So this is not an ongoing forever. This is a limited promotion that you need to jump on right now so you can participate in that. Now, let's talk about the road to become an executive director, okay? When you first start out, you're an agent, okay? And then once you do 4,000 in volume, that can be yourself or anybody in your team. Once you do 4,000 in volume and you've got one personal activation in there, then you become a supervisor. And a supervisor, it pays more commission. Now, to get to the next level, to what we call a director, you've got to do an additional 8,000 in volume. So once you've got a total of 12,000 and you've got 2 personal activations, at that point you become a director. Now, you're going to love this. I'm going to come back to that in a minute. So remember that. If you're only an agent right now, we're going to show you promotion that you can get to the director level real quick. Okay, now, to get to the next level, a managing director, you've got to have a total of 28,000 in volume with 4 personal activations. And then to become an executive director, once you and your entire team have got 60,000 in volume and you've got 8 personal activations, the pool, if you can get into the pool as an executive director, you get to participate in 50% of that pool. Once you've got 2 executive directors under you, at that point you get 60% of the pool. And then once you become a senior managing executive director, you get 70% of that pool. Once you become a managing executive director, you get 80% of that pool. And then once you become a field partner, at that point you participate in 100% of that pool. So pretty cool. Okay? Now, the jump from agent to director, this is cool. In the first 30 days, so you've got the next 30 days from the time you sign up, if you get 1 activation, if you make 1 sale, or if you buy the product personally, that would count as your activation, and it would also count. Now let me back up on this, okay? I want you to really understand this, because this is a big deal. Okay, if you introduce someone else to the company and they become an agent with the company and they buy the product and it's somebody that you directly introduce to the company, you get credit and they get credit. If you can do 1 activation in the next 30 days, you're promoted to a director. So you get to skip supervisor. So that's over 12,000. That's 12,000 in production that you would have had to have done that you get to skip. Okay, cool. Okay, I love that. Now, we've got the gold program and we've got the platinum and the platinum plus. To do this in the first 30 days, it has to be a platinum or a platinum plus activation. the gold does not count. It has to be a platinum or platinum plus. But what that does by becoming a director, so you understand the benefit of that, your first level, anybody that you personally introduced to the company, anybody that you recruited, you get a 6% of everything they do. You get 6% of that. Anybody that they introduce to the company, that would be a level 2, you get 2% on that. And on level 3, there's another 2% that you get on that. So it opens up so that the income possibilities can become huge. That's a big deal, okay? Now, for existing agents, they say, well, I'm an agent right now, and man, I want this. Here's the promotion that we're doing with that. Between January 1st, which today is January 2nd, through the end of January, through the 31st, okay, if you get one activation, you get to get promoted to director by doing one act. Now, if you haven't bought the program yet, and you're going to, now would be a good time to do that. And so that would also give you the director position. So pretty cool there. So again, and that will give you the extra percentages so you can make more and more money. So you got to love that, okay? So that's the fast track, the road to executive director. I love it, man. With that, if you can do that one activation in the next 30 days, you'll eliminate $12,000 in volume that you've got to do, and you'll automatically become director with just one activation. That's it. I can't believe they're making it this simple. But that's what we've voted on and said, yeah, let's do it. So you got to love it. So anyway, so that's the announcements. 2 ways to make more money. We've increased the bonus pool from 6.25% to 9.25%. That's a big deal. And so that you can get promoted to executive director, that's all you've got to do to make that happen. So pretty impressive, okay? And if you were with us before October, okay, with that, you had a 6-month track record for that. So if you were an agent pre-October, then this, yeah, remember we had a promotion similar to this, and that's what you would still be under. So we haven't, we haven't done away with that, obviously, because that was the promotion we ran then. So just want to make sure there's no confusion on that. So hopefully that makes sense to you. But hey, folks, if you're on this call for the first time, you need to get with who invited you on this call and get your free savings analysis run. And if you're one of the reps that have been on this call for a long time, apologize for the slow start to get it going, but hopefully it's been time well spent for you. And, hey, this can put more money in your pocket all the way around. So, hey, we appreciate every single one of you. And I know you've been on here for a long time, and so normally I'd go through some compensation, some other stuff, but we're not going to take the time to do that because, man, we've been going for well over an hour now, and that's too long to sit on the phone. So, again, appreciate all of you. This is Don Jorgensen saying thank you very much, and we'll talk to you soon.